Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we are going off on an adventure. We don't really know where we're going yet. Don't know what the next plan is going to be, but we have our navigator, Cassia. So, I guess we can't leave the system yet, can we? We have a couple of other things that we need to scratch off, but this was a big one. This is a big bullet point on our to-do list, our cosmic to-do list. Anyway, let's go to the void ship.
Lord Captain, Lady Navigator, welcome aboard. The Sanctum Navis has been prepared for the communal ritual, but if the Lady Navigator wishes to rest in her quarters first...
What? Speak up. Speak more clearly.
I can't, I'm wearing a mask.
Okay. You're our communications officer. You can't even communicate.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So, Cassie sharply raises her hand in protest, and then closes it around the glowing stone in her throat. A pained grimace twists her uncanny features. I first wish to speak with the rogue trader. Leave us.
Of course. When you're ready for the ritual, please let me know.
Well, look at that guy having fun. Just jabbing a console with a, with a chainsaw. It's a weird dude. I mean, I guess he's serviting, isn't he? He's a servitor, he servits. That's what he does. Anyway, Cassia sweeps her pensive gaze over Vigdis, then, lowering her lashes slightly, turns to you. Yeah, you don't want her lashes to be too high. No, my lashes need to be higher because I outrank her. That's how that works. So, what do you wish to speak about? Tell me more about the ritual. First, you'll do your duties as navigator, or the conversations can wait. I do not want to speak to you. Go to the Sanctum Navis. Let's ask what she wants to talk about. After a few seconds' hesitation, Cassia lets out a small exhale, then raises her pointed chin. Rude to point. I have not yet thanked you for saving me on the station. My thoughts were clouded with so much mournful ash when Theobald's heart stopped, but you acted honourably and did not exploit me in my wretched position, and for that I am immeasurably grateful. Ha ha ha! The ruse worked! Mwahaha! Nah, we do want to help. I am also deeply grateful that you saved my servants, especially my valet. Or valet? Is it a... I have this conversation all the time when playing Total War Warhammer, because there's a... You can pick up a valet or a valet as a follower. You know, you can, like, as an equipable boy. But there's a slight difference between valet and valet. They both have the same root word, meaning servant, which is clearly just like the you know, bare bones, that is what it is, just a personal servant. But valet tends to be used in places where they are trying to appear more posh. So they have a valet will attend to your car when you park at a fancy restaurant, but a valet tends to be a gentleman's gentleman. Which is, yes, I did get that definition from that spy movie. I forget the name of it. Not James Bond. The one that's a satire of James Bond. No, not Austin Powers. Anyway. Whatever. So yeah, it tends to be, you pronounce it French if you're pretending that you're really posh, and you pronounce it English if you are actually posh. That tends to be how it works. So I assume in her case it's a valet, and she has her I guess her lady's gentleman. So Uwe? I got Uwe. Served on the station for more than 5 years, much longer than any who preceded him. He knows how to properly attend to me during journeys through the Immaterium, and what to serve me for breakfast. Very important. Yeah, he can guide you through hell and make you scrambled egg. If we could all find someone, you know, who treats us like Cassia's valet treats her, I think we would all be, like, much happier in life, you know. His presence envelops me in a cloak of amber. Alright, whatever that means. If we could all find someone who could cloak us anyway. However, I am troubled by that stone you implanted inside me according to Felix's instructions. I cannot remove it or tear it out or cut it out. I cannot even touch it. It is suffocating me, weighing me down as though my heart were locked in grey-blue ice. I can but hope that it will not be a hindrance when I am guiding the ship through the Sea of Souls. But now, Cassia throws back her shoulders, I am ready to go to the Sanctum Navis and perform the sacred ritual. Or rite, sorry. Similar, whatever. I require brushes, canvas, and the best paint you have on board, but no red. That's so cool. Oh, I love this. as just a bit of flavour. The fact that she, like... I don't know if that's, like, to keep her mind at ease while she travels the warp, or, like, simply she, like, paints her way through it, but, like, that's so fun that it's not just her sitting, like, grandly on a chair going, "Ooh, my mind says go this way." Like, that's a really fun thing. Now's not the time to indulge in painting. Why do you refuse red paint? Yeah, I'm intrigued. Because then she goes like a bull in a china shop and we end up, like, just damaging. We end up breaking all of the vases in hell. Cassia gestures towards the servant standing beside her. Uwe will give us his blood before the ritual, as always. Oh, okay, he supplies the red. Okay, good. Wow. Yeah, okay. Grim. Let's see. Yeah, I'm a flippin' rogue trader. I can give you some poster paints, love. Not a problem. Cassia nods in thanks. I shall take my leave of you for the duration of the rite. I ask that you do not follow me. Few can survive the gaze of my warp eye when it is opened. That's how she says warp eye, by the way. So who's this then? Ah, that is Vigdis. Okay.
Lord Captain, I will oversee the open channel between the Lord Navigator and the bridge, and may the Emperor's light help us all.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Lord Captain, congratulations on acquiring a navigator. Spare me a few moments of your time, please. There are several matters that require your attention. First of all, I want to report on the condition of the station, Yorak 5.
Has it gone kablooey?
Had you opted to begin your visit of the Rykad system with a different destination, the station would have become critically unstable. Fortunately, the decision to visit the representatives of Navis Nobilite immediately brought us precious time. We can either send our forces to disassemble the station and procure technological components for our own vessel, or attempt to save as many valuables as we can.
That's so cool! Because, I mean, that's the thing. We're like a giant ship, just, like, nabbing resources and like, lording over folks. So any derelict or anything we find, you know, any mission that we do, depending on the aftermath, yeah, it's a derelict now. It wouldn't have been had we not visited, but now it is, and we're going to make use of it. That's really fun. I really like that. Loot everything from jewellery to the last manuscript. Gather components that may be of use. I will not stoop down to pillaging. How is it pillaging? It's abandoned. Then most of the... Like, we just saved everyone from there. They would benefit from their old home. I mean, this benefits no one. It could blow up at any moment, right? So that seems... I wouldn't call it pillaging. It was recovery, if anything. I think we want to save things of cultural significance. Because it's an ancient house. You know, they have antiques and whatnot. I think we need to save culture as much as we can. Because we need to reinvigorate the arts. That's something that the Imperium desperately needs.
As you wish, Lord Captain. With your permission, I would also like to remind you that we are still looking for a chief engine seer.
That's the one.
Both the vessel and its machine spirits are in desperate need of an oversight by the experienced tech priest. We are also missing some crew, and much more importantly, you have not yet located Hendrix van Kalox, the right hand of the Lord Inquisitor. Now we know for sure he was not at Yorak 5, so keep this in mind when making your future plans.
Where's always busy with you, Vigdis? Come on, let's chew the cud. Could you sometimes just visit and tell me how wonderful the things really are? Thank you, Vigdis.
Whatever you say, Lord Captain.
Alright, so we left the station. We left it good. So, still a couple more places to visit. Interesting that we have... it's interesting that we have, like, Engine Seer and Dude to find. But there's 3 places to go to. Which makes me curious. I kind of want to go to this. Oh, it's the prison planetoid. That's right. I feel like we might have to go there as a mission for one of the other 2 locations. So, yeah, let's go there later. I think we'll go here. There's clearly something here. I mean, there's a starport, but I don't know. Let's see how it goes. What was that? That was strange.
Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you.
Victus pauses as if listening to something.
There's some pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Wessarian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance.
Okay, what trouble is afoot? Or at hand? Other appendages. Make it androids, I don't know. Oh my god, we're on a Lazy Susan. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice the loudest of all.
That is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant.
The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain.
Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb her. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay.
Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrilla Vent, requesting permission to vent. Vent falls silent, and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I will listen to what you have to say. Speak, Lieutenant. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I like the idea of churning them both out. You know? So I'm happy to hear you guys speak. You don't have to bicker. I'll not tolerate any of this conduct. Assign the lieutenant to be murdered. No, let's go with them too. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary, but I'm convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. One of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a sceptical huff. Huff. Nailed it. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Wessarian, and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship and no one informed me. Yeah, that's... Yeah. I would not deem it a problem worthy of a rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. Don't worry about it, it's fine. It's just like the Titanic, they'll be the first to drown. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order. But even 8 years later, we are still battling rumours that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Oh, they think I'm tyranny? They haven't even met me yet. Rude. Abelard scoffs. Scoff? Needless to say, the rumours were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, she will quell the unrest. Certainly with a decent enough dice roll. I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up rules in the mess room. I love the fact that it's just like, God, hundreds of workers are going to be slaughtered for kicking up a fuss. But like, oh, what if a couple of people are shouting a bit? I've already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your ladyship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. That's true. Very true. Okay, why is Wessarian? I shall explain, Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry. Time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit, even if it means that my potential incompetent actions are irreversibly completed. There is an established order in the way things are done on the ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about pirates hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora van Valencius will find refuge on her ship. Okay, so he thinks that the pirates are instigating worker revolt, or indeed that the worker revolt was the pirates that then took over the ship. It was, you know, the spy master instigated the workers, using that old rebellion to spark a new one, perhaps. You are far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Wersarian. Arrests, interrogations, and mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink, Vent says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors of the lower decks. It is home to clans of general labourers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served its specialised systems for generations. They are easily replaceable resource, and one which is now, more besides, giving succour to pirates and minions of the archenemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst, that means drunken fights and legal rot-gut brewing. We've handled the workers on Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. Another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on the neighbouring sectors. Abelard, what do you have to say about this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see they are not lying or harbouring pirates. That way, you will stop the uprising before it begins. Yeah, I think everyone on the ship needs to be aware of my presence, right? They need to know that I am willing to solve problems myself. That way they know that things have changed, and they're less likely to revolt. And then we can keep exploiting them. We'll help them if we can, obviously. But simply just like being present is a huge deal. Absolutely huge deal for sort of leaders, you know, to show, no, look, I see your conditions, like, I get it. You know, I'm capable of empathy now that I am informed. But that's the first step, you know. You can't take action on something you don't know the situation. You know, when you don't know the situation. So, yeah, let's go down there. We need to know our ship. Yeah, so this is the one we want to go with. Praise the Emperor. Vent cannot contain her relief. Thank you, Lord Captain. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric. But please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. And I categorically insist that you escort me. Yes. Sure. Oh wow, we're actually sending This is awesome. Is this actually going to be like a proper little sort of like, I mean, not like a dungeon, but you know what I mean? Like a explore an area, talk to people, like do the whole RPG thing. Or do we literally just have these people as an escort in case we fail a dice roll and then they all go, we have nothing to lose, we're on chains, start smashing things. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, well immediately looks friendly down here. Hey, Swazarian, take that scum! Ah, they threw poo at you. Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one, a rare moment when he allows his age and wariness to show through his armour-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Well, you could turn them into servitors. Then they'd be happy. Well, they wouldn't be happy, but they wouldn't be sad. So, you know. I'm a kind soul. Did you hear? They were shouting your name. People dared disrespect senior officer. Yeah, there we go. They were saying your name. Of course they are. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavour to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am a man whose name is attached to the very order, docking rations or lowering a bay's heating. Yeah, no wonder they're annoyed at you. Although, like, we should make sure that everywhere on the ship, probably, but possibly sheep. You know what? I'm the rogue trader, okay? I said it's the sheep. We live on a sheep now, okay? Deal with it. Come argue. I dare you. Anyway, the people dared respect. Let's keep moving. Of course they dare. Why wouldn't they? Something resembling a nest made of thermal insulation material. This would be where the workers sleep between shifts. Wow, that's grim. Valve, huh? Valve, huh? Okay, a lot of valves. I assume we might want to turn this down at some point. I assume this will take us to their leader. Hello, rabble. Emperor, save us and keep us. This is depressing. Oh god, what is he reading? Well, maybe not. Oh, that guy's probably dead. Oh dear. Relax, old man. Going strong on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk live. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's Avarilla. And here's our strike team. Jeez. Our enforcers. The sounds of heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avril Vent of the ship's enforcers, barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer, and judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached a boiling point. Oh, so she's actually one of the enforcers. That's interesting that she actually came to say, you know, I have been ordered to kill everyone, and I think that's bad. I thought she was just arguing on, you know, on behalf of the workers, like a third party. I wasn't sure what her, you know, post was exactly. I have my orders. Sorry that he's a different person. I shouldn't give him the same voice as what's his face. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest in Purge's sector. They get them so young these days. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. If only he wasn't so bloody tall. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Vent, the officer looming over her, or both. Your ladyship. Noticing you, the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute, their subordinates following suit a moment later. Can't some loads on the way here? The conduct was outrageous. What situation? Want to speak to the strikers? I give the assault unit permission to open fire. They threw a poopy. No, what's the situation? Your ladyship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as resources allow. As far as resources allow. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes. I'm just gonna walk in and go. I hear you're all unhappy. If you're not happy here, why? If you're not happy living here, why don't you just move? Right, come on, let's go. Let's go do our bit. Hey guys, good greetings, your graces. Our children are freezing. We've done nothing wrong. We're being punished. A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange, to the outright grotesque. Beanpole. I like that his name is Beanpole. That's very fun. Is this Beanpole? He doesn't look like a beanpole. Like, he's quite broad. Or is that Beanpole? He looks a little bit more, you know. I think that's him, because he's got a circle around him, I guess. Anyway, whatever. He looks scrawnier. A whisper pauses through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. The Lord Captain, you have come down to us. That's what he sounds like, I decided. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your ladyship, says a tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. We're doing our own research. Oh, anyway. Shut up, Beanpole, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your ladyship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for pirates. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to hold bays for a week at a time. So we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of these enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes. When the children's deaths are mentioned, she quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. If only they had become child soldiers for the ecclesiarchy. Oh, such a waste. And then Stager. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships. Amidships is supposed to be 2-word, I think. Who grew up amidships and has no fellow feeling towards us. The grim man with the scarred face throws up his arms. Your ladyship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. Persecution started apropos of nothing, you say. I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and there are pirates hiding out here. I missed the cultist amulet thing. I don't recall that. I could have just been, like, chatting nonsense at the time and glazed over it, but that's fine. Abelard, did you have anything to add? We were attacked on the way here. What charges do you want? Oh, changes do you want? What charges do you want? Conspiracy? Treason? You can have whatever you want. No, what changes? Let's ask about this. A cultist amulet, what's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? Gewgaw? Oh well. I've never heard that turn of phrase. That's fun though. If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for pirates among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be pirates here? We know our own people. There've been no new faces around. Definitely not. And if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no pirates still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies, the boots they came back with. No one's ever tread these decks in boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these pirates are better commanders than us. Snap, old lady. She's fierce. I mean, she's old, right? Got nothing to lose. She's like that. She's like that woman from Andor. Great character. Love her. So I can't remember her name. You know the one. The old lady. Oh yeah, those boots were really fine, and there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the moment, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor, the same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Oh dear. They weren't taught about evil, grrr. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the danger of the archenemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who is not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbours? Yeah, I'm sure that'll change things. I'm sure they have great education down here. What changes do you want?
Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us build rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these pirates do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here.
You've gone too far, old Dan. They'll never let the maggots in the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on forces on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbours out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the pirates' bodies, and we'll talk to them, one lower deck to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves.
You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the anointed one turns her back, those brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dare to speak out.
The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Yeah, just absolute coward. Literally just agrees with the last thing he hears. What a loser. Let's have a look. Coercion. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step toward embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands, we'll consider the rest. Fine, I'll give the order for the enforcers to be withdrawn from this sector, and you will be given weapons. Let's see how you cope. Governing yourself, what difference it makes. You've failed to convince me of trustworthiness, the unrest ends now. Thoughts, Abelard? I don't want any of these. Like, just pull back the enforcers. It's that simple. They promised to hand over anything taken from the pirates. We'll sort out the heating. Like, the heating was only to mess with them so they'd give the things back, right? So just, we'll come to agreement. You do what the enforcers want in the first place, and then they'll have no reason to attack you. If they decide that they want to do that again, well, I'll certainly hear about it, because, you know, the lieutenant will let me know that they're overstepping again. Because this is not good, right? As they're being crushed and frozen to death, they're not working, right? They're miserable, and they're not going to be doing the things that they need to do down here to keep this ship moving, right? These guys are actively getting in the way of productivity. Through making people miserable. So it's not going to work for me. But yeah, giving them weapons, stupid idea. Just dumb. They're untrained. We'll just literally just start gang violence down here, because they'll still have nothing, alright? They'll still have, like, a bugger all resources, but now some of them will be armed and be able to take the resources from those who don't. So, no, it'll just create gang violence. That's not how it works. We're not doing that. So, yeah, this all sucks, actually. These are terrible options. I'm surprised, like, Benevolentia or whatever. Benevolentia? The thing that we do sometimes isn't an option here. The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the archenemy. We must not give them what they want. Even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I've seen it before. Abar's face darkens momentarily. In my second war, there was a sergeant of the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor. Only the pocket knife, which had grown through all of the rows and beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavenging, scavengers, malcontents, strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple: give them no quarter. Why would you give them weapons? Like, the guy in the middle, we don't have an option to give him his demands? What? There's specifically a character that has given us the option that I want to pick, and it's not here, which I find incredibly frustrating. This is incredibly frustrating to me, because like the options are like it's so obvious there should be an option that happens to be the one I want to pick. You know, which is listen to the guy in the middle, give him what he wants, right? Why are we suddenly going beyond what he wants and listening to the old lady and ignoring like any half measures? It's stupid. I hate this. I hate this so much. I want this fixed so badly. Because like I'm invested in this story, and so when it doesn't give me the outcome that I want, it just kind of falls apart. I guess now we're just playing video games. Okay, we're just playing video games now. I'm going coercion because I might get experience for the dice roll. Has succeeded. The tall worker they call Beanpole shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old Dan, listen, the Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions, and I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to a rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down! Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old Nan. The 3 clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the forces or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. Okay, so I guess we're now giving him that? So is this the option? So is he going to give us what we want? So is that actually the middle ground? Because it wasn't... It didn't seem to be... So, spreading on anarchy is the first thing to embrace chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more enforcing need to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands. Oh, okay. So no, that is it. So when I read it, okay, now I am happier. That's my bad. That's my bad. Withdraw those demands, those specific demands, and we will consider the rest. That is okay. Okay, good. Okay. I retract my paddy. But yeah, this does make sense. But that very much seemed like we're keeping the enforcers around, and my logic was if the enforcers are keeping around, they're continuing to get beaten, so the rest seems silly. But actually, them not beating them and turning off the heat is the rest of those demands, so it's fine. I leaped. I made a leap. So the old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you're against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against 2 clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great. Just fantastic, Lord Captain. We're all agreed. There's decided persecution will stop, and I'll expect you to assist in locating any remaining ambulance weapons left by the pirates. Good. Your ladyship, thank you. We've not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your ladyship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. Alright. Yeah, that's that I'm content with that. I'm content with that solution. That's not bad. It's not bad. Pages where the start of each shift is marked. The last worker's mark is missing. The workers went on strike. So there's a bunch of valves here. Very intrigued. Why those are there. Goods. What's this then? Oh, multi-key. That sounds nice. Heat sink warms the air around it to a scorching temperature. This is the warmest part of the bay.
Blessed be the road that we take.
Okay, let's have a look. I don't want to go through that hot bit. Looks sweaty. Yeah, I really wonder if we'd chosen something else. Maybe we'll come back here one day in a later chapter. You never know. Because perhaps if we had given is it a frenzy? That's unusual. A lot of them are. It's because they're rabble. Rabble, 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 rabble. Interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, what I think might have happened, or what still might, is if we'd armed everybody, we'd probably have to come back down here in another event at a later date and fix it. You know? Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companion, saying, "I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment." He's standing in the poop again. Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. "What are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain?" "You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by pirates, the rebel will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak havoc. Wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valancius Protectorate?" Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allow this revolt to happen, your actions practically guaranteed that it would. Yeah. "I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene," Abelard says, irascibly. "Remember, Lord Captain Theodora, do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Hence the rebellion. Such matters were left to myself and junior officers, while she dedicated herself to the grand design of the Protectorate. As any true strategist, the rogue trader ought. Maybe Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard this ship now. I will not repeat her mistake." Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was her not being, like... I mean, there was a flippin' rebellion, alright? Like, half the ship was killed. We almost got, like, lost in hell, right? It just... It's so obvious that her, like, managerial style left huge, like, grievement to be exploited by the archenemy, if you will. So, like, obviously there was going to be a rebellion. "I'm only too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Give me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment. Right now I don't see any." Yeah, let's go to the top one. Abelard looks at you stunned and exhales loudly. He then nods curtly. "I commend your decisiveness, but I'm uncomfortable with introducing no protocols in the midst of a crisis. The crisis was because the previous protocols were shit." And Abelard stands straight to attention. "I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself." "Please do." See, look at this. Look, this guy, he's a military man, right? So we tell him how it is, right? We don't have to tiptoe around him. Right? We say jump, he says how high, right? All the workers, though, they're just doing what they can. They don't have a clue, right? They don't have all this, like, discipline and stuff. They don't have an education. They're just turning valves all day down here, right? Like, obviously you have to reach them on a human level. This guy, he knows how this stuff works. We need to tell him how it is. Alright? That's what he's going to respect. So this, I think, is the best way to approach all areas here. So Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. "The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy with the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds a sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. Sorry, cogitate. So yeah, I like this, because basically, she created a great distance between her and the people of her empire. You know, took new territory and everything, but she wasn't keeping things down at home. That was his job. And it failed. Why? Because he's a Navy officer, right? He's treating everyone like mutineers. And that's just not how it works, alright? We're governing populations, not ranks, you know? One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations, procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades, up until the uprising. You know, cannot suddenly be deemed excess of requirements. Theodora trusted in established procedures and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valentius Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. I understand we need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader, accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone, and where you and I have new decisions to make. Prosperity of the Von Valentius Protectorate is just as important to me. You're the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on the ship. I think in the future, I will follow your recommendations. Nah. Nah, I don't want to end up dead. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operation. Well, it's not, because he was talking about worker uprisings in years past. That didn't they say took months to settle? There was a civil war aboard the ship, essentially. So it's twice in recent memory that the ship has basically half the crew has decided to take on the other half. This is so stupid. It's so obviously flawed. So anyway, I've seen plenty of sentiment and handling in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to rely on your judgment. No, I do actually still trust him, because he will follow my orders to the letter, and as long as I can keep giving him better procedure, I know that he will administer it. And I know we're as yet to see if it's better procedure or not. This is an RPG where consequences matter and all the rest of it. So it could very well be that the game will go, oh no, this is 40k. If you give people an inch, they'll all turn into corn demons. Don't worry about it. All the workers are bloodthirsters now. Whoopsie. You never know. But clearly old procedures didn't work. I'm trying something new. Whatever the case. So, Theodora trusted in established procedures, and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valentius Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. Yeah, I'll just say we're in a new world. Okay, respect me. We're living in a new world. Deal with it. I like that. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. See what I mean? Right, we say, no, this is the rule book now. And he goes, okay, I'm on the new rule book. Why? I'm a Navy boy. Okay, so it's all good. I think this is a good resolution for this small union matter. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue train desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places, where we're not stretching our legs through all of this poopy. I love that he had the whole conversation just literally stood within the metaphor of his decisions. His decisions got him covered in poopy. And here he is just stood in it, trying to go, no, I'm clever. My way is very good. It's yep, literally dripping in your mistakes. It's very funny. Very good. Lord Captain. Hello, guard. His name is Guard. It's just a coincidence that he happens to be working here. So, yeah, we can level him up. Presumably we can level up the other guys too, but we can do that next episode, because we've literally spent the whole episode on this, which I adore. I love this. I love that we can really just get into the weeds of these decisions and really just enjoy the... I don't know. I love unpacking things. Endlessly unpacking things. This raises so many fun questions that I really, really love to delve into. So yeah, I'm loving this game. I really am. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you would have done for the Emperor. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Yeah.
Reduced to dust.